On October 26, 1988, a 22-year-old by the name of Marcus was heading home after a 3-day vacation to Los Angeles. He lived in Lenwood, which is around 2 hours away from Los Angeles, and was currently around halfway home. Presently, the bright blue color of the sky was gradually transitioning into a dark midnight blue. The night was coming. Marcus had just crossed over a railroad crossing when the engine in his car began to sound strange. Then it began to smoke, meaning whatever was going on was very bad and he needed to pull the car over, which he did. As soon as he got out to see what was going on, the car caught fire. Marcus quickly ran away from the car, only to stop and look back when the car's engine exploded. Marcus then realized that he had just lost his car. How was he going to get home now? Marcus then began to walk along the road, which wasn't often used. Soon after a little while of walking, he found a little wooden shelter with a bench in it. He went in, sat on the bench, and then he fell asleep. Marcus awoke a little while later and realized that the blue sky outside was completely gone. It was now in the dead of night. Marcus then stepped outside, only to nearly have a heart attack when he saw a disc-looking object flash across the sky. Marcus quickly ran back into the shelter. Then he heard a sound. It was a train horn. Marcus peeked outside, and sure enough, he saw the glow of a headlight. A train was indeed approaching. As the train got closer and closer, Marcus noticed something. The train seemed to be slowing down. And sure enough, once the lead locomotive was about to pass Marcus, the train ground to a halt. Confused, Marcus cautiously approached the lead locomotive, and then looked down the train, and then saw what had stopped it. The knuckle between the 12th and 13th car had broken, causing the train to separate. Seconds later, the crew walked out of their lead locomotive, an SD40T-2 with the road number of 8525. Marcus then explained about the strange thing he had seen flying across the sky moments ago, which the crew understood. Apparently, other crews that had run trains through that line, specifically that section, had claimed to have seen something that was similar to what Marcus was describing. He then explained about the loss of his car and how he couldn't get home. The conductor, by the name of Jerry, began walking back to the part of the train that had separated, while the driver, by the name of Bob, took Marcus into the cab. Around 20 minutes later, the problem was solved. Both parts of the train were back together, and Jerry had just re-entered the cab. Then, something caught Marcus's eye. From around the corner of the mountain, slowly making itself known, was a large, disc-shaped object. The thing that Marcus had seen earlier, but this time, it was right in front of them. Soon, the crew noticed it too. Bob hid under the control stand, while Jerry stared in amazement at what was happening. The disc-shaped object soon began to hover upwards. And then, in the blink of an eye, it was gone again. Jerry frantically looked around, trying to see if he could find it again, while Bob came out from hiding under the control stand and got back into his seat. Without a word, he then released the brakes, opened the throttle, and the train began to move, on its way to Lenwood. This would be a night the crew and Marcus would never forget.